Sure.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to International Yoga Day 2020. The sixth edition of International Yoga Day will focus on yoga at home with family members. Our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, in the run up to the Yoga Day, launched an event, My Life, My Yoga, in his Mann Ki Baat. He encouraged people to stay active and fit during the lockdown period. Yoga Yoga is not a workout, it is a work in. In this spiritual point, practice to make us teachable, to open our hearts and focus our awareness so that we know what we already know and we be who we already are. The theme of this year's International Yoga Day is Yoga at Home, Yoga with Family. On this occasion, we Team Diksha had put forward a yoga competition and essay writing competition, the results of which will be announced at the end of this session. Today, we all have gathered here to be a part of webinar conducted by Dr. Pratap Singh Sir, Vice Principal, Nanda Naturopathy and Yoga Medical College, Erode, Tamil Nadu, on the topic Therapeutic Yoga in Regular Clinical Practice. Before starting the session, I would like to go through a few basic instructions that has to be followed throughout the session. For an uninterrupted class session, use laptop with high-speed internet connection. Please make sure your microphone is on mute in order to have a disturbance-free session. In case of any disruption, please make sure your internet connection first, and if the problem is within our network connection, kindly raise the issue in the chat box. Filling your full name to be displayed is appreciated. All the questions raised in the chat box will be addressed after the completion of the session. Now, it is my great honor to welcome Dr. Pratap Singh Sir to the webinar. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So, good evening, everyone. Doctors as well as the other participants who are right now in the program. So, and first of all, I would like to thank ma'am for introducing me, and also I would like to thank the Diksha e-learning center for inviting me as a speaker for this webinar, and my special thank to our Dr. Sudhir sir for contacting me for handling this topic. So thank you, ma'am. I think I can enter in the session.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first of all, I wish everyone a happy International Day of Yoga, and I think no need of explaining about International Day of Yoga. So straight away, I would like to enter into the topic. So I would like. So today my topic is. Just a minute. Okay. So my topic is therapeutical yoga in regular clinical practice. Since the session is mainly focusing on the doctors so of other Ayush system except naturopathy, so since I want to make them to know about the yoga, how the yoga can be practiced in their own clinic. So that's my topic, and myself, as ma'am described, my name is Dr. C. Pratap Singh, Vice Principal of Nanda National Yoga Medical College, Erode District, Tamil Nadu. Voice is audible, ma'am? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So, my topic is therapeutical yoga. So, before that, you all will be knowing about yoga. Okay. So, I want to make a small difference between yoga and yoga therapy. Yoga therapy means therapeutical yoga. Okay. So, I want to make you clear about this too. What is yoga and what is yoga therapy? So first, what is yoga? So yoga means it's an art. Okay, it's like a practice where we practice some techniques for harmonizing the body, mind, and soul. So most of them will be knowing. So when someone asks what is yoga, without any delay we can able to answer that yoga is the union of body, mind, and soul. Okay. So for that purpose, for making the unity or for making the balance or harmony between these three, we follow few techniques called as asanas, like physical poses, as well as breathing exercises, pranayamas, as well as meditation. And ultimately, in yoga, it will lead to self-discovery or self-mastery or self-realization. In simple, we can call it as knowing oneself. Okay, so that is yoga. So yoga is like a practice. It's an art. So that is yoga. Whereas coming to yoga therapy, so yoga therapy is a science. So this makes the difference between yoga and yoga therapy. So yoga is an art where yoga therapy is a science. So yoga therapy is a science where we impart the techniques of yoga. So same, we impart the yoga or we apply the techniques of yoga with knowledge. So this is the two things we have to make note on this. That is, yoga in simple term, yoga is an art, whereas yoga therapy is a science. So naturally, we study based on some scientific data. That's why that's what the main difference. So here we give the technique with knowledge about the specific problems. So as a doctor, we all know the disease process or the pathology of the disease, cause of the disease, clinical conditions of the disease, and how to how to treat the disease. All this mechanism and or the knowledge we have when we are learning our medical course. So that's the thing I want to stress here. So here we apply the same technique. So yoga also they are using the technique, but here we apply with some additional knowledge which comes from our education, that is from medical knowledge, and there we learn about some specific problem and their experiences. Okay, so the experience comes from the specific knowledge, and based on this we induce or we induction to help alleviate that problem. So whatever the problem the patient have, we try to rid out of the problem, whether it can be physical or mental or anything. So that is the main difference between yoga and yoga therapy. So this should be very clear. So those who are attending the program or this webinar, so make sure, so yoga is little bit different from yoga therapy. So yoga therapy, we apply with some scientific knowledge, whereas yoga simply, it's like art, just a practice, they will practice and go off. So that is a major difference. And how the yoga becomes yoga therapy. So how becomes the yoga converted into yoga therapy? So before that, we should know the definition of WHO. So World Health Organization definition or dimension on health. So WHO or the World Health Organization, they made an studies about health. So what is health? What is health? They made a lot of experts So they made the expert panel and they tried to identify, or they tried to searching for the definition or a description for health. So finally they come to a conclusion that health should be on the physical level as well as mental level as well as social level. So all these three dimensions should be should have a sort of state of well-being that makes the health. So simply they make a definition that health is a state of physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely an absence of disease or absence of infirmity. So this is the definition given by WHO on health. So physical health should be there, mental health should be there, and social well-being should be there, or social health should be there. So this is the three dimension mainly focused by WHO. So now, so what we have to think about, whether the yoga have any what is it, or whether the yoga satisfying all these three dimensions of health which is given by WHO. So that we have to analyze here. So one thing, the yoga is relevant to all these three dimensions of health given by WHO. So it is relevant. So yoga can give our, or yoga can improve our physical health by doing asanas, pranayamas. So naturally our physical body health state will be improved. So it is relevant. So that is one of the standard. Second, it is reliable. So by practicing yoga, whether we can trust that our physical, mental health can improve it. So that is the second thing. So that is reliable, that is trust. We can trust that after practicing yoga, or by practicing yoga, definitely our physical and mental state or mental health will be improved a lot. So that is reliable. And third one is very, very important, acceptable. So when we give yoga or yoga practices to a patient or a common person, he have to, or whether he can able to accept the thing what we say in yoga. So we say that yoga will improve the physical health, mental health. So it should be, or it must be acceptable by the patient or the public. So because of this acceptability character, the UN accepted our yoga and they have declared us International Day of Yoga. So this is mainly because of the three standards of yoga, because yoga is relevant to the WHO definition on health, as well as yoga is reliable to the WHO definitions on health, as well as yoga is acceptable according to the WHO definition of health. So all these are getting, or the standards, the yoga therapy standards can satisfy the definition given by the WHO. That's the reason out of 180 countries, 177 countries voluntarily they have come up with resolution along with India in the year 2014 to declare June 21st as an International Day of Yoga. So now before that, so our main concept is the therapeutical yoga. So before that, we should know the yogic concept of origin of disease. So how the disease occurs in a human body according to yoga. So according to yoga, how the disease originated, or how the disease occurred in a human body. So the primary most cause is Adi. So Adi is the prime most cause, so which means a mental agitation, which means a mental imbalance, or mental inclarity. Okay, so there is no clarity in mental health, or mentally the person is not able to handle any situation or something like that. So Adi, so mental imbalance is the main reason for any sort of disease according to yoga. So now we will see how the mental problem influence our physical body and causes disease. So in that, so mental agitation, if there is any mental disturbance, it will interrupt the flow of prana as well as nadis. Okay, so hope you all will be aware of prana and nadi. So prana means the energy. Okay, so energy flow which will passes in the nadi. So if there is any interruption or any instability in or disturbance in prana, it will affect the nadis. Okay, so mental imbalance will affect, which means absurd flow of prana, that is disturb the flow of prana, as well as which will cause some instability of nadis. So because of this, because of the interruption in flow of prana as well as instability of nadis, main problem occur in a human body is three. One is ajirnatvam, second adijiranatvam, and third kujiranatvam, which means ajiranatvam means under digestion. Okay, so the digestion is low, which means that there is no proper digestion, it is under digestion, that is ajirnatvam. And second, adijiranatvam, which means over digestion, so the digestion was fast. Third one is kujirinatvam, which means wrong digestion, so not under or not over, just wrong digestion. So if there is any mental problem or mental instability or mental agitation, it will affect the flow of prana as well as will unstable the nadis. So which will in turn affects the digestion mainly. So we all know if there is no proper digestion, the food, the absorption or the nutrients present in the food, which cannot be absorbed properly, as well as the digestion, if the digestion is not proper, then the defecation. So you know, either there can be constipation or there can be loose motion or something like that. So some immediate evacuation can be there. So nutrients cannot be absorbed properly, which in turn leads to physical elements called as vyadhi. Okay, so mental condition or mental imbalance or mental disturbances or mental agitations, directly it will have or it will influence or it will pervade in the physical body to, and it leads to cause some diseases called as physical ailments. We call it as vyadhi. Now the physical ailments can be converted into adija and anadija. So physical diseases can be because of adija and anadija. So anadija means the physical diseases occurs because of infection or contagious causes or contagious diseases. Okay, so that so if the diseases occurs due to any infection or any contagious, then the diseases or the physical element is called as anadija adis, right, or anadija vyadis. Okay, and at the same time, another component, that is the adis generated or called as adija. Okay, in that there are two types, essential type, that is Sara, and ordinary type Samanya. So essential type means it is compulsory. If there is a cycle of birth, then definitely one have to enter in the state of death. It is normal. If there is birth, there should be a death. That is called as essential type, that is Sara, and ordinary type Samanya, which means the mental agitation, so which will affect the physical body, and it will cause a disease or a group of diseases called as psychosomatic diseases. Psychosomatic diseases, that is the physical or the biological diseases caused by the mental agitations, which means caused during the interaction with the world. So this is the yogic concept of origin of disease, and it is mainly referred from Yoga Vasishta. So Yoga Vasishta is the main text of yoga we follow. So in that, according to yogic concept, the origin of diseases is mental agitation, which means mental imbalance or mental problem, psychological factor. So this psychological factor will affect the physical body, and the diseased state develops because of this is called it as psychosomatic diseases. So this is the main area we have to concentrate. So because nowadays the majority of the population will be or suffering from this kind of diseases, which means the psychosomatic diseases. So we will now see what are the causes for mental agitation. As I said earlier, the main cause for the diseases or mental agitation. So now we have to look for what are the causes for mental agitations. What are the factors which will affect the mental stability? So here, according to yoga, and especially according to sage Patanjali, is the guru for sage for yoga. According to him, there are 5 factors which will affect the mental stability. So we call it as pancha kleshas. Pancha kleshas. Pancha means 5. Kleshas means afflictions. Afflictions means suffering or pain. So 5 causes or 5 reasons which can cause some sufferings or pain on mental health. So we called it as pancha kleshas. Now we will discuss one by one. So what are all the pancha kleshas? What are all the 5 afflictions? So avidya, ashmida, raga, dvesha, abnivesha, klesha. So these are all the 5 causes or 5 kleshas or 5 afflictions. Avidya, ashmida, raga, dvesha, abnivesha. These are all the 5 causes for mental agitation. Avidya means ignorance. So ignorance. Ashmida, false sense of identification. False sense of identification, which means incapable of identifying a right thing. Okay, so misunderstanding. So like state of illusion, delusion, that kind of problem. Raga, addiction or likes. So we will be attached to something, some material or some relationship, something like that. Dvesha, aversion, dislikes. So we hate often our relatives or neighbors or even our family members. So dislikes. Last one is abnivesha, that is clenching onto life for fear of death. So everybody having a state of fear of death. So we won't show much interest on death, right? So we always fear for death, right? So all this 5 causes mainly affects the mental health or mental stability. So avidya, ashmida, raga, dvesha, abnivesha. So among all these 5, the primary factor is the avidya, ignorance. Because the ashmida, raga, dvesha, abnivesha, everything is just because of this ignorance, that is avidya. Okay, so poor knowledge or poor wisdom leads to all these factors. Okay, so many times we say like if someone is facing some problem and he may not be able to solve the problem, and we always used to tell he don't have or he's not clever or he is not a brilliant to solve that problem, right? So because of the ignorance. So that is the reason for all the other kleshas like ashmida, raga, dvesha, nivesha, everything. So avidya is the cause for all other kleshas, leads to chitta vikshepa. Chitta vikshepa means disturbances in mind, which means mental agitation. Chitta means mind. Okay, so chitta vikshepa, so disturbances in mind. So this kleshas causes the when or it will affect the mental health and leads to mental agitation. This mental agitation in turn affects the physical body, and this physical body at a point of stage will develop a lot of diseases named as psychosomatic diseases. So hope everybody is clear about this point. So causes of mental agitation, that is kleshas. According to Patanjali, Sage Patanjali, there are 5 kleshas. Kleshas means afflictions. So because of these 5 factors, avidya, ashmita, raga, dvesha, abnivesha, there may be a pain or sufferings in our mental level. We call it as mental agitations. So now, what are the phases? How the diseases from mental level is going to affect the physical level, that is somatics. So psychosomatic means, psycho means mental level, somatic means the physical body. Okay, so how it affects, right? Okay. So first, psychic phase. Okay, so here we are relating the psychosomatic diseases with panchakoshas. Again, next slide we will be discussing about panchakoshas. Don't confuse with panchakleshas and panchakoshas. Okay, so in previous slide I was discussing about panchakleshas. Okay, this is koshas. Okay, okay. So phases of psychosomatic diseases. So there are 4 phases. First, psychic phase, which means mental phase. So now, as I said earlier, so mental agitation, that is adis. Okay, mental agitation is the first stage or first factor or first the beginning point for the disease, physical disease. Okay, or the biological disease. So physical state, sorry, psychic phase. Here, persistent mental agitations, that is caused because of kleshas. Okay, because of the kleshas, there will be a constant or concrete or a persistent mental agitations or instability will be there, which in turn affects the 2 koshas. So we have 5 koshas, pancha koshas. In that psychic phase, it will affect 2 koshas, Vijnanamaya kosha and Manonmaya koshas. Okay, so I will explain about the koshas in the next or second slide. So just remember this. Okay, in psychic phase, so constant or repeated or persistent or continuous mental trouble or mental problem or mental instability will affect the Vijnanamaya kosha as well as Manonmaya kosha. Manonmaya means mental layer, okay, mental sheath. Vijnanamaya means our wisdom, our knowledge. So it will affect that. Second, psychosomatic phase. So first psychic mental phase. Now the mental phase slowly pervades into the physical body phase, that is somatic phase. Okay, so the combination psychosomatic phase. So gradually or gently the psychic phase comes in communication with the somatic phase. So again, as I said earlier, the constant or continuous mental agitation will increase the symptoms, or which will develop as symptoms like normally we can say tremors, hypertension, palpitation. So this kind of like headache, like this small or minor symptoms will be developed because of in this psychic phase when it enters into the psychosomatic phase. Okay, so we know the fight and flight mechanism. So immediately, as a sudden, if you are seeing a dog or a snake, immediately we get a tremor or we get a increase in blood pressure or increase in respiratory rate, and the muscle contraction will be more. Okay, so that is the mental instability. It will perverts into the physical body, which in turn just like what is it? Which in turn produces a small kind of symptoms. Okay, so this phase is correlated with Manonmaya kosha and Pranamaya kosha. Manonmaya means mind, Pranamaya means the energy channel. Okay, so it will affect these 2 koshas, Manomaya and Pranamaya kosha. And third phase, somatic phase. So from psyche, so from mental level, then second phase, the communication between the mental and the physical level, and third, from the mind, it completely grab the body or physical body. We call it somatic phase. So here, in this phase, it really affects the body organs and it develops a disease. Okay, so here in somatic phase, it really it affects the organs of our body, any of the organ. Okay, like it can affect the heart, or it can affect the vascular system, or it can affect the stomach, or whatever may be. This will affect the organs, and this in turn develops a disease. In this phase, here it affects the pranamaya kosha as well as annamaya kosha, okay, the energy flow channel as well as the physical body. It affects them. So last one is organic phase. So organic phase means it will affect the multiple organs. Okay, so our body system. So this phase is marked by full manifestation of the diseased state with pathological changes. That is a very important point. That is, pathological changes may develop in this phase, and there will be a constant psychosomatic diseases will be developed in a patient. Like for example, hypertension, ulcer of the stomach, or whatever may be the diseases we named as psychosomatic diseases. And this phase is completely correlated with Annamaya Kosha, as the disease has become fixed in the physical body, that is organic phase. So this how the mental agitation gradually affects our koshas, various koshas of our body, and it will become a organic disease, or it will affect the physical body and develops a disease. So next, epidemiology of this non-communicable disease, especially the psychosomatic disease. Okay, so because in general, WHO classify the disease into two groups: communicable and non-communicable diseases. So in that, the non-communicable diseases are mainly because of this mental instability. Okay, so it is high time to know the epidemiology of the non-communicable disease or the psychosomatic diseases. So as I said earlier, the non-communicable diseases, it can be diabetes mellitus, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, cancer, respiratory diseases, so and so. Okay, all this comes under non-communicable diseases, even COPD, PCOD, or infertility, as well as so and so. Okay, so obesity. Okay, all this comes under non-communicable diseases, and mainly because of or mainly we can consider all these diseases as psychosomatic diseases. So the psychosomatic diseases contribute to around 38 million, which means 68% of all the death globally. Okay, so death percentage. So among 100 death, the 68% of the death globally is mainly because of this psychosomatic conditions or psychosomatic diseases or non-communicable diseases. And in India, around 60% of the death in India is because of this psychosomatic diseases. Okay, so this is very high time to know about the psychosomatic diseases, as well as and how the yoga plays a main role to reduce this rate. Okay, so as I said earlier, the main cause for this non-communicable or the psychosomatic diseases is stress. Okay, so stress means the lifestyle changes. Okay, so the lifestyle changes means the way we live. Okay, these are all the main factors. Okay, as I said earlier, the kleshas. So these are all the main factors which disturbs the mind health, which in turn affect the physical health. So if we know the epidemiology, that is the percentage of death taking place in globally and India because of this condition, then we must able to know what is the importance of the role of yoga in the society to reduce all these conditions. So clinical intervention. So this much time I was talking about the yoga. What is yoga therapy, and how the disease occurs according to yoga, and what are the various phases it crosses, and how it causes physical diseases as well as cancer. Now, how the clinical intervention we are going to put in our clinical practice. So according to the phases of psychosomatic disease, there I mentioned about the koshas. Okay, so 5 koshas: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manonmaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So if we come to know all these koshas in related to the phases of psychosomatic diseases, then it is easy to apply yoga clinical intervention in your clinical practice, right? So we have 5 koshas. Koshas means a sheath, a layer. Okay, so according to yoga, are 5 sheaths. One is Annamaya, that is physical body or food body, we say. Pranamaya, that is energy body or energy sheath. Third, Manonmaya, that is mental sheath or mental body. Fourth, Vijnanamaya kosha, that is a knowledge, a wisdom body or wisdom sheath. Last, Anandamaya kosha, a state of blissfulness. Okay, so these are all the 5 sheaths of a human body according to yoga. Okay, so it is very important to ensure the health level of all these layers or all these sheaths. So always as a physician, we should ensure the health status of all these sheaths or all these koshas. So Annamaya kosha should be healthy, Pranamaya kosha should be healthy, Manonmaya kosha should be healthy, Vijnanamaya kosha should be healthy, Anandamaya kosha should be healthy. So if all these koshas, all the sheaths we maintain or we improve the health, then there will be naturally there will be less chance of getting disease. So as a doctor or as a physician, we should, before implementing or before giving yoga intervention to a patient in your clinic, we must know all this koshas. Okay, so that's the main thing I want to convey through this webinar. So now, yoga therapy and the pancha koshas. So before I said the psychosomatic diseases in relation with pancha koshas. How the pancha koshas affected because of the psychosomatic diseases. So mental agitation, how it affects the pancha koshas. Now we know, see, this is the time of corona, COVID-19. So they were running behind the drug, right? So this is the virus and this is the protein part act as a antigen in the particular virus. So we have to prepare or we have to discover a drug which should act against the particular protein component of the virus, right? So same like that, here the psychosomatic diseases affects the koshas, pancha koshas. Now we have to improve the health state of the pancha koshas, right? So I hope you can able to understand, right? So in psychosomatic disease, it affects the pancha koshas, which means Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manonmaya, Anandamaya, as well as Vijnanamaya kosha. It is affected because of psychosomatic diseases. So in yoga, what we have to do means, we have to improve the health status of this pancha kosha. So once we improve the health status of pancha kosha, naturally we can prevent the disease, especially the psychosomatic diseases can be prevented. Okay, so for that, in yoga we have to apply Ashtanga Yoga. So again, everybody attending the session or familiar with Ashtanga Yoga, right? So only thing what I am going to discuss here is what and all the Ashtanga Yoga will help or we can use for the strengthening the health status of various Panchakoshas. That's the thing I am going to discuss here, right? So what are the Ashtanga Yogas will improve the health status of various Panchakoshas. And as you all know, the Ashtanga Yoga, that is eightfold path of yoga according to Patanjali. Ashtanga means eight, right? Okay. So there are 8 things according to yoga we should follow to ensure the health status of the Panchakoshas, right? So Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So these are the 8 Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Right? Now, next, what I am going to discuss is what are all the Ashtanga Yoga plays a major role in various levels of koshas to improve the health status. Okay. So first, for improving the health status of Annamaya Kosha. Okay. So how we can safeguard ourselves or a patient or a person from a physical disease means we can asanas, yoga kriyas and food. Okay. So asanas, you all will be familiar with this body postures. Okay. So there are a lot of asanas. Okay, 84 lakhs asanas that are there, and commonly we are following some around 84 asanas. Okay, so a lot of variations are from a single asanas are there, but we follow some 84 asanas. Okay, all these asanas will help the physical body to improve the health status, and we can avoid facing the diseases. Okay. Second thing, yoga kriyas. So in yoga kriyas, we use the yoga kriyas for cleansing. Okay, cleaning the body. Okay, we call it the Shat kriyas. Okay, Shat means 6. Okay, there are 6 different techniques we follow in yoga. We named it as Shat kriyas. Okay, all these kriyas we follow for cleaning the body. Okay, so cleaning the body. One is Neti. So commonly we used to Neti is Jalaneti, Sutra Neti. We used to for nasal cleaning. Okay, so nasal cleaning. Next, Dauti. Okay, so Dauti means the procedure we used to clean the upper digestive tract. Okay, so esophagus and stomach. Okay, we clean the stomach as well as esophagus by using some techniques, and we named it as Dauti. Then coming to Vasti, in Vasti we used to clean our lower intestinal tract, especially the large intestines. Okay, so use Vasti procedures to clean the lower digestive tracts. Then Nauli, so we give like automatic massage in our body. Okay, so muscle, abdominal muscle especially, we float here and there, so thereby it gives a gentle massaging effect upon the abdominal organs. So Nauli, so again it cleanses. Then the Tradaka, so we all will be familiar with Tradaka. So usually lighting a candle, and we will be focusing on the tip of the fire. Okay, and constantly we have to focus on the light. Okay, so that is Tradaka, which cleans the eye, so which cleanses the eye. Okay, and last one is Kapalabhati, so which is a breathing technique which cleanses the lungs. Okay, so all these 6 procedures cleanses the body. Okay, so physical body, thereby we can improve the health state of the Annamaya Kosha, and we can protect or we can prevent the disease of physical body or Annamaya Kosha. And third one, very important thing, food. Okay, so the food we eat have a major role for the health status of the physical body. And according to yoga, we classify food into three: sattvic diet, tamasic diet, and sattvic diet. Okay, so sattvic, tamasic, rajasic. So three types of diet are there. So in almost all the system, we have the same type, and preferably we have to opt sattvic diet. Okay, fresh food. Okay, so food, fresh and pure food food should be taken. Okay, so which plays a major role. Okay, for the health, for improving the health status of Annamaya Kosha. So there are three yogic interventions which will improve the health status of Annamaya Kosha, asanas especially, and apart from asanas, yoga kriyas and diet, sattvic diets. Okay. So these are all the yogic practices which will enhance the health status of Annamaya Kosha. Second, we have to ensure the health status of Pranamaya Kosha, that is energy sheath. So the prana channels, okay, so Pranamaya Kosha or prana layer or prana sheath health status can be enhanced just by practicing pranayamas, okay, so breathing techniques. So there are a lot of pranayamas techniques are there. So we can go for any kind of pranayamas according to the patient conditions, which in turn enhances the pranayama health status of the pranayama kosha, that is energy sheath. Third one, manonmaya kosha, very important sheath or very important kosha, because this is the kosha first get disturbed and affects all the other four koshas. Okay, so mental health. Okay, always we have to concentrate on mental health. In general, we always focus on the physical health, right? Always we will be focusing on our physical health. Mental health, if any disturbance, any pain or any sufferings, we won't bother. But if any some slight fever or slight headache or slight abdominal pain, we immediately run to a doctor for a treatment, right? So we least bother about the mental condition and we give much important to our physical condition. But according to yoga, we have to give more focus or more importance to the mental body or mental sheath or mind. Okay, so here how the mind health can be improved, right? So here for this we have to mainly practice yamas and niyamas, right? So yama is nothing but some discipline conditions, okay, some moral discipline. So basically we have to follow some disciplines. Okay, so in next slide I will explain about yamas and niyamas. Okay, just here I just mentioning the terms, okay, names, yamas and niyamas. So yama, some disciplines we have to follow, as well as right way of living. Okay, so niyamas, okay, small or a few niyamas are there. So some laws. Niyamas means law. Okay, so there is some law for leading our life. Okay, or there is some law for living. So we have to follow that. Okay, so yamas and niyamas we have to follow to improve our mental health. Second thing, if there is any mental disturbance, we have to go for some relaxation techniques. So in yoga, we mainly impart many relaxation technique like instant relaxation technique, quick relaxation technique, deep relaxation technique, as well as SMET, okay, so stress management, excessive tension, as well as MSRT, okay, mind sound resonance techniques, so and so. Okay, there are a lot of relaxation techniques are there, where we impart the technique to stabilize the mind health. Okay, so to reduce the mental sufferings or mental pain. And third thing, pratyahara, which means withdrawal. Okay, so Ashtanga yoga, which have a major role here, is yamas, niyamas, and pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawal. Okay, so withdrawal means we should not have any desire or any greed with other things. Okay, so we should not stick over any of the things. Okay, like uh, uh, too much of love with our relatives or family members or neighbors, something like that, or too much of greed or desire with any of material like that. Okay, so it will create some mental disturbances. Okay, right? Okay. Third, to improve the mind health, we have to follow dharana. Dharana means concentration. Okay, dharana means concentration. So without disturbing our mental health, we have to concentrate on any one of the point, and we can stabilize the imbalanced mind to convert it into a balanced mind. So where all these techniques will improve or enhance the mind health. So if our mind health is that good, definitely there won't be psychosomatic diseases. So there won't be development of psychosomatic diseases. Next one is Vijnanamaya Kosha. So that is the wisdom sheath. So if our mind health is clear, then definitely there will be proper health status will be there in the Vijnanamaya Kosha, that is wisdom sheath. For that, we have to stable our mind regularly and continuously, and for that we can practice meditations. Okay, so remember, dharana is different, dhyana is different. Okay, dharana means concentration, dhyana means meditation. So the difference between dharana and dhyana means dharana, when we are focusing on one point, it may get interrupted. Okay, it may get interrupted. So for example, we will be focusing on a single point. So after 2-3 or after a minute, we get disturbed. Okay, so our mind will get diverted. That is dharana. Okay, whereas dhyana, we start concentrating a single point, there won't be any distraction. Okay, that is the dhyana. Okay, so dharana, continuous practicing of dharana leads to dhyana. Okay, so dharana, repeated practice of dharana, concentrate. Okay, continuous concentration leads to a state called meditation. Okay, and last, Anandamaya Kosha, that is blissful state. In simple term, we can say it as a happiness state. Okay, so if all these four koshas, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Mananamaya Kosha, and Vijnanamaya Kosha, if all these four koshas are healthy, then there won't be any trouble with Anandamaya Kosha. Okay, if we have any mental suffering or physical suffering, definitely it will affect our Anandamaya Kosha. If all these four koshas are healthy, then definitely there will be a blissful state, a happy life will be there, right? So these are all the yogic techniques we can apply to a patient in the clinic. Okay, so we know that asanas will help the patient, or yoga kriyas may help the patient, or diet may help the patient, pranayamas help the patient, pratyahara help the patients, pranayama, so dharana, dhyana, everything will help the patient. But only thing, scientifically you should know, everybody should know, according to yoga, asanas. Okay, so how the asanas improves the health, so at which state or which kosha. Okay, this difference should be, it should be very clear. Okay, so as a physician, we should know all these things. Okay, before going for clinical intervention. Okay, before applying yoga to a patient, or before giving a yoga to a patient, we should know these basics. So then it will be easy. Okay, so asanas will mainly work on a physical body. Yoga kriyas will be work on a physical body, and as well as sattvic diet, our food will work on physical body. Okay, and coming to pranayamas, we give pranayamas, but we don't know where it works. So from today we must be able to know that pranayamas works on pranayama kosha. Okay, and coming to Yama, Niyama, Pratyahara, Dharana, relaxation techniques, all this works on Manonmaya koshas. That is mental body. Okay. And Dhyana. Okay. So meditation will works on Vijnanamaya kosha. Okay. So if we do all this regularly, then there will be a state of happiness. Okay. Then there is a state of blissful state. Right. So there I have mentioned about Yama and Niyama. Okay. And this is two Ashtanga yogas where all the physician, all the peoples, okay, neglects. Okay, this is the Yamas and Niyamas are the two Ashtanga yogas always neglected by everybody. Okay, because everybody will ready to follow asanas, everybody will be ready to follow pranayamas, everyone will be ready to follow meditation, everything. But nobody will follow this Yama and Niyama. And without Yama and Niyama, you may be able to practice even advanced series of asanas. You can able to hold your breath under water for 5 minutes. You can able to meditate for 5 days or 10 days, not a matter. But without practicing or without following yamas and niyamas, so no way the yogic intervention is going to help you. That is the main problem we can find in the society. And of course, this is one of the, what do you say, one of the lacking we can find in the yoga. So neglecting the yamas and niyamas is one of the major or drawback we have. And from today we have to concentrate or we give more importance on yamas and niyamas. Okay. So first I would like to explain about yama and niyama. Okay. Yama. In yama there are 5 things: ahimsa, satya, ashteya, brahmacharya, abhirigraha, yamas. Okay. Ahimsa. So non-violence. Okay. So not physical violence. Even we should not hurt anyone mentally. Okay. So we should not blame others. We should not hold others unnecessarily. Okay. We should not hurt anybody without any reason. Okay. Even with reasons also, we have to live like that. So we should not hurt even physically or mentally. Okay. Then satya, truthfulness. Okay. So always try to be truthful. Okay. So somewhere if we fail to follow the truthfulness, we feel bad, right? If we maybe we may say some lie to our friends or family members. So always we will be a tense state, right? So when this will come to know to my parent, or when this matter will come to know to my friend. So always we will have a mental instability, so mental disturbances. So this mental disturbances, if it continues a long duration, it will cause some sort of psychosomatic diseases. Okay. Then ashteya, non-stealing. We should not take anything from others. Okay. So we should not steal. You know the mental problems of robbers, right? So they won't be leading their life in lead the life as a normal human being, right? They will be hiding away from the society, right? Okay. So they have some sort of mental instability, right? So we should follow asteya. Then brahmacharya, that is continence. We have to control our sense. Okay. We have to control our sense to store our energy. So after seeing something, we create some sort of passion or greed, and we always have some, or we lost some control over our senses. Okay. And next one is abharigraha, non-possessive. So we should not possess on anything. Okay. So this is mine, this I need, this I want. Okay. So that kind of greed or desire should not be there. Okay. So all this we call as yamas. Okay. So ahimsa, satya, ashteya, brahmacharya, abharigraha, yama. That is non-violence should not be there. We should not harm, and we have to teach to our patience also. Okay, truthfulness should be there, non-stealing, continence, non-possessiveness. Okay. Coming to niyamas, okay, some laws. Okay, so some living disciplines. Okay, so there are 5 niyama: saucha, santosha, dabash, swadhyaya, ishvara, prani, dana, niyama. Okay, so saucha means purity. Okay, saucha means purity, means hygiene. Okay, neatness. Okay, so the way we live. Okay, so we have to clean ourselves, or we have to pure ourselves, right? Second thing, santosha, contenta. Okay, so which means we should be a state of happiness. Okay, so contenta means we feel like we are satisfied ourselves. Okay, okay, so we have to maintain our happiness with whatever we have. Okay, so we have to satisfy with our life what are all the material things we have, right? So content. Okay, then the dabas. Okay, that is purification through the discipline. We should follow some discipline. We have to very disciplined towards everything. And swadhyaya. Okay, so self study. Okay, swadhyaya means self study. We have to analyze ourselves. The whatever the things I do, is it right or wrong? If I have a passion on particular thing, is it right or wrong? Whether the particular material or the particular thing is needed for me, like that. Okay, we have to, did I did any mistake? So like that we have to self study ourselves. Okay, next, devotion to a higher power. Okay, so always we have to communicate with the higher power. Okay, always we pray, right? So Hindus or Christians or Muslims, so they have their own higher power, right? So they believe their own superpower, right? So always we openly we disclose our secrets to the higher power. That should be there. Okay, so no, I don't believe any higher power. That should not be there. So then where we share our thoughts, right? So by sharing this, our mind will get some low weightness. Okay, so these are the niyamas. Okay, so very important thing we have to follow in yoga is the yama and niyama. Okay, so practicing asanas, pranayamas, pratyaharas, dharana, dhyana, samadhi is not going to help anyway by neglecting yamas and niyamas. So along with yamas and niyamas, if you are practicing all those other ashtanga yogas like asanas, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, really it will be going to give such a great health state, which will be for our lifetime. So this concept you should be very clear. Okay, so I request all the participants to make aware of this. Okay, so giving yogic intervention to your patients is not a matter, but we should know. Okay, so where this practices are going to act. Okay, so where the real effect is going to get. Okay, so in the physical body, mental body, pranic body, as well as knowledge body, as well as our happiness body. Okay, bliss body. Okay, so and what are all the techniques? By using that we can enhance the health state of all these koshas. So that is the Ashtanga Yoga plus few practices. Okay, is it clear? Okay. Now, worldwide, the yoga has been accepted, and now they are celebrating the 6th International Yoga Day. Okay, and it's a medicine. Okay, nowadays yoga is considered to be as a medicine. It's not just an art of practice. Okay, so WHO always function with their own aim. Okay, so the aim of WHO on health is WHO always focus on preventing the diseases. Okay, see now also there are outbreaking of COVID disease, pandemic. So they will try to prevent the disease, right? They are struggling for prevent the disease. Okay, so one of the aim of WHO is prevent the disease. Okay, second one, maintain the health. Okay, so those who are not suffering from disease, they have to maintain the health. Okay, so we know now there is lockdown, right? Okay, the purpose of lockdown is preventing the disease. At the same time, we are at home, we have to maintain our health. So we have to avoid visiting out, we have to avoid communicating with others. So we have to consume good energy, good nutritive foods like that. Okay, so we have to maintain the health. And third thing, we have to promote the health. Just maintaining is not sufficient. We have to promote the health. So today we have, we may have went to a job and we may have earned some around 1,000 or 2,000 rupees, right? But do you think tomorrow you won't go for any job? No, we have to run daily just to promote the financial status, right? So we have to maintain health. At the same time, we have to promote the health. So whatever the health we have to strengthen it. We have to promote it. And fourth one is restore the health by chance. By chance, if our body enters into a state of disease, we have to restore it, right? So we have to bring it back to a health state, right? If you get a fever or if a COVID patient is got diagnosed, then immediately he is treated just to restore the health, right? So this is the main aim of WHO. Based on this four things or this four theme, the WHO always works. Whatever the disease, whatever the conditions, always the World Health Organization works on this fourth aim. Okay, preventing the disease, maintaining the health, promoting the health, restoring the health. Now, we should know levels of prevention. So there are four levels of prevention according to WHO: primordial prevention, primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary prevention. Which means primordial means WHO always forms guidelines to prevent chronic diseases. Okay, so prevent chronic diseases. Always give advices, right? So a screening test for diabetes, screening test for hypertension. Always they will be continuously doing this, right? Just to prevent the chronic diseases. So primary prevention means preventing the disease before the onset of disease. Okay, so before the occurrence of any disease, we have to prevent it. That is we call as primary prevention. Secondary prevention means just immediately after the onset of disease. For example, if we get a fever, immediately we go to doctor, right? That is secondary prevention. After the onset of a disease, we immediately visit a physician and we get a treatment to just to to block or to stop the progression of the disease, right? Okay. And third, tertiary prevention, which means if the disease condition was worsened, okay, if the disease state was in final stage, there the doctors will try, isn't it? The physician may try to prevent another disability or some difficulties, right? That is called as tertiary prevention. So yoga works on the aim of WHO as well as the levels of prevention of WHO, right? So by giving asanas, pranayamas, dharana, dhyana, following yama, niyama, we can prevent the disease, we can maintain the health, we can, if we practice daily yoga, we can promote the health, and immediately if we get any minor diseases, we can restore the health by using yoga. So now it is very clear that yoga always works on the aim of WHO. So in beginning, I was explaining that yoga is similar, or yoga works on the concept of the definition of WHO. And now what I am telling is yoga works on the aim of WHO. Again, once again, I would like to insist that's the reason why out of 180 countries, 177 countries accepted the International Yoga Day, and 170 countries celebrating the International Yoga Day on 21st June from the year 2015. So now yoga is the journey of the self through the self to the self. So this quotes everybody is very familiar. So hereby I would like to conclude the session. So mainly what I want to insist here is, in the clinical practice, whatever the practices, yoga practices you apply for a patient, you must have the knowledge of panchakoshas, causes of disease. So how this yogas works on the koshas as well as the various causes of the disease. Okay. So thank you very much. Anybody is having any doubts or suggestions, please.
Participants now can ask the questions in the chat box. Any queries, participants?
Okay, thanks for your feedback. Purnima Ravi, Angeline, Vidoba Shinde, Priyadarshini. So thank you everyone. If you have any doubts, please can be asked. And once again, I want to stress everybody, the doctors who are attending the session, or training doctors or whoever may be, whenever you implement or whenever you apply yoga to your patient, always should have the knowledge of koshas and the practices you give and how it works on it, right? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So what are all the common yoga to prevent disease? So Sanjay Kikani, what are common yoga to prevent disease, specific yoga to prevent and treat specific diseases? So that's what, sir. Actually, the specific yoga for a specific disease, it's a vast area. Okay, so we have, as I said, 84 lakhs of yogasana, asanas practices are there. We have more than 25 pranayama practices, mudras, bandhas, as well as kriya practices. So many things are there. So that is very vast area. That's what. So you will be knowing all the yoga practices as well as pranayamas. So what are all the conditions I told here, the basic concept. Okay, so the kosha, the relations of koshas with the Ashtanga yoga. So you can apply the practices, you can consult any yoga doctors. Okay, so better you can go for any BNOS graduates, doctor, consult with your doctors and you can get suggestions, opinions, or of course you can contact me also. Any specific disease, we have ulcer condition, we have headache conditions, we have back pain, knee pain. So a lot of cases are there. Okay, so explaining individual specific problems is a very vast area. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. So thank you everyone for your positive feedback. So I was overwhelmed after seeing your feedbacks. So thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
So can we conclude?
Yeah, conclude now. So once again,
Change is an
excuse
end
me, ma'am.
result.
Yeah.
Yes.
So once again, I would like to thank Diksha e-learning for giving such an opportunity or such a platform for me to deliver a session on yoga. And I hope all the participants got benefited. And a special thank to Mr. Sai and Dr. Sudhir for approaching me to handle this session, and I was so happy. And thank you so much, Dr. Sudhir and Sai. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can conclude the session, ma'am.
Yeah. Change is an end result of true learning. We all had a very informative session. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us. You did really change us today. Now, to the moment everyone has been waiting for, the results of essay and yoga posture contest. First, the results of essay competition. Bagging the third prize is Jennifer Nadar, Ashwini Ayurveda Medical College, Tumkur, Karnataka. I repeat, third prize goes to Jennifer Nadar, Ashwini Ayurveda Medical College, Tumkur, Karnataka. Second, Dr. Deepika, Government Yoga and Naturopathy Medical College, Chennai. Second prize goes to Dr. Deepika, Government Yoga and Naturopathy Medical College, Chennai. First prize.
Any initial or something like that, Deepika?
It is just Dr. Deepika, sir.
Okay.
First prize goes to Chanchal from Sri Krishna College, Guruvayur. First prize goes to Chanchal, Sri Krishna College, Guruvayur. Congratulations. Now the result for yoga posture competition. Third prize goes to Dr. Rakesh P. I repeat, third prize goes to Dr. Rakesh P. Second prize goes to Chaitra Shetty from Karnataka. Second prize goes to Chaitra Shetty from Karnataka. And first prize is backed by K. Vaishnavi, Nanda Naturopathy and Yoga Medical College, Erode, Tamil Nadu. First prize goes to K. Vaishnavi, Nanda Naturopathy and Yoga Medical College, Erode, Tamil Nadu. Congratulations, all the winners. All the winners will be intimated personally through email. It was a tough competition as all the essays and photographs were outstanding. It was truly a tough decision to make. So I would like to congratulate all the participants for all their outstanding work. Hope your journey with Diksha e-learning has been pleasurable so far. With that, we would like to inform you our next webinar on 24th June, Wednesday, on the topic an overview of the therapeutic guidelines of Madhumeha by Dr. Arun Chandran sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Kriya Sharira, Netra Chikitsa Trust, Ayurveda College and Hospital, Amreli, Gujarat. It is one-time opportunity. Please don't miss it. All the informations will be forwarded in our social media. Please check out all our social medias to stay connected with us. As Diksha e-learning is all about protection, propagation, and promotion of true Ayurveda. Wishing you all have a great evening ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Pratap Singh sir, once again, for sharing your valuable time with us.
That's my pleasure, man. Thank you.